Outside, winter blanketed the small road leading to the suburbs in a hazy fog. Dim streetlights flickered, their faint glow weaving between the long stretches of darkness. Emma, 28 years old, sat behind the wheel, her eyes weary yet filled with anticipation. She gently pressed the accelerator, leaving faint tire tracks on the salt-covered pavement. In a cozy kitchen, 22-year-old Jessica was focused on preparing dinner. The warm light from the overhead lamp cast a golden glow on her rosy cheeks, her eyes sparkling as she worked over steaming pots and pans. Her nimble hands moved gracefully, creating simple dishes infused with love. As Emma stepped through the door, the soft jingle of wind chimes broke the quiet. Jessica looked up. Their eyes met. No words were needed. Time seemed to pause. They moved closer, sharing a tender embrace that melted away the chill of the winter outside. For a moment, nothing else mattered. Only the warmth they found in each other remained. Yet outside the window, another set of eyes was watching them. John, 25, stood hidden behind a thin curtain. His expression wavered between sadness and anger. Slowly, his shadow receded into the dim light, like a memory that had never truly faded.
It was a quiet Sunday morning in the suburbs, the kind where the air felt still and time seemed to stretch. The walk home took her past the familiar edges of town and into the small wooded trail that she and Emma loved so much. But as Jessica walked deeper into the woods, she began to feel a change in the air. The sound of branches cracking underfoot made her stop. Out of the stillness came figures. 3 men stepping into her path, their movements deliberate. Their faces were unfamiliar, but their intent was clear. Jessica's heart pounded. She stepped back, her eyes darting around for an escape, but the men moved closer, their presence overwhelming. From the trees, another figure emerged. Jessica's eyes widened in disbelief as John stepped into view. He looked different from the man she once knew. His face hardened, his eyes cold, then began to speak, his voice low and filled with venom. "You think you can just walk away from me," he said, his words laced with bitterness. "You think you can live that life, that sham, without consequences?" Jessica's breath hitched as she tried to reply, to reason with him, but John's voice grew louder. "You turned your back on me for her," he spat. "You're disgusting. You don't even deserve to be here." His voice echoed through the trees, a twisted mix of anger and hurt. Jessica tried to move, to run, but 2 of the men grabbed her, holding her in place. She struggled, her voice catching as she yelled out, but the forest swallowed her cries. Then, with a desperate burst of energy, Jessica managed to break free. Snow scattered around her as she hit the earth, pain shooting through her body. The world seemed to close in as she lay there. A sudden call from the forest jolted the quiet winter morning into motion. The local police received an alert about an accident deep in the woods, just a young woman found in the cold, her life slipping away before they could arrive. Miles away, Emma's phone buzzed. Her heart sank as the voice on the other end delivered the news. Jessica had been in an accident. Time blurred as she sank onto the couch, her hands trembling. Outside, the snow continued to fall. The officers at the scene concluded their report. In their assessment, it was a terrible accident, a slip on icy ground, compounded by the relentless storm. Back at home, Emma sat alone. The house, once filled with warmth, now felt hollow. She stared out the window, her thoughts awash with memories of Jessica's laughter, her gentle smile, the way her hand would linger on Emma's shoulder during quiet moments. Tears slid down Emma's face, her heart breaking as she clung to those memories, hoping they could somehow fill the emptiness. Today, Jessica has decided to visit the church where Emma was laid to rest. Swirl together as the car nears its destination. When she reaches the small church parking lot, she takes a deep breath, gripping the steering wheel as if summoning the courage to step outside. Each step crunches softly on the snow-covered ground as she approaches the church entrance. Jessica pushes open the heavy wooden doors, their creak echoing through the stillness inside. The warmth of the church is a stark contrast to the cold outside. Colored light streams through stained glass windows, painting soft patterns across the wooden pews. The scent of beeswax candles and fresh flowers lingers in the air,
creating an atmosphere of solemn comfort. Jessica moves down the aisle slowly, her steps almost hesitant. The silence of the church feels both heavy and soothing, a place where Jessica can finally let herself feel the full weight of her emotions. The priest steps up to the pulpit. His kind eyes sweep over the congregation, and his voice fills the sacred space. He speaks of love, loss, and the strength found in faith. His words are gentle, reassuring, and they resonate deeply within Jessica's aching heart.
Dear friends, loss is never easy. Those who leave us physically remain with us in spirit, in our hearts, in our memories, in the love we continue to carry. They are not gone, they are not lost, and in our darkest moments, it is that love that will guide us forward. None of us are alone in this journey. Even in the hardest moments, remember that love is stronger than death, that our faith can mend even the deepest wounds. Trust that your loved ones are at peace, and know that they want you to live, to love, and to continue their legacy.
Next to the church lies a small cemetery, its rows of headstones blanketed in snow. Jessica walks slowly through the white expanse, her boots crunching against the frosted ground. When she reaches Emma's grave, she stops.
It's been a year, Emma. A year since I've seen your smile, heard your laugh, felt your touch. I thought I could find a way to move on, to be strong. But the truth is, I can't. Not without you, Emma. A whole year, and yet it still feels like you were here just yesterday. I keep thinking time will dull the pain, but it hasn't. I don't know how to keep moving forward, Emma. I just wish I could see you again, even for a moment. I miss you every single day.
Snow falls lightly, coating the cemetery in a thin, pale blanket. Emma stands quietly at the grave, her gaze heavy. After a few moments, she turns and walks away, her steps slow, her feet weighed down by sorrow. The path to the cemetery gates is now blanketed in white, and each step she takes leaves a faint imprint in the snow. Leaving the cemetery, Emma opens the car door. She sits inside, closes it, and remains still for a moment, her hands resting on the steering wheel. The vehicle rolls forward. Emma drives slowly, the car's headlights cutting through the gently falling flakes. Ahead, the mountain's summit gradually comes into view, the place that once brought peace and joy to her and the one she loved. Reaching the summit, she stops the car, turns off the engine, and steps outside. She moves toward the edge of the mountain. She closes her eyes, inhaling deeply, and takes a step closer to the edge. Then another step. A sudden flutter of wings breaks the stillness. A white dove appears from nowhere, circling once before it pecks her lightly on the cheek. Emma opens her eyes and looks at the dove, her expression shifting as she takes in its small, calm presence. The bird remains, undisturbed by the cold or the stillness.
Dear friends, loss is never easy. Those who leave us physically remain with us in spirit, in our hearts, in our memories, in the love we continue to carry. They are not gone, they are not lost, and in our darkest moments, it is that love that will guide us forward. None of us are alone in this journey. Even in the hardest moments, remember that love is stronger than death, that our faith can mend even the deepest wounds. Trust that your loved ones are at peace, and know that they want you to live, to love, and to continue their legacy.
It doesn't fly away. Instead, it steps onto her hand, its warmth a contrast to the chill in the air. For a moment, time seems to stand still as Emma gazes at the small creature. Eventually, Emma turns and walks back to her car. The bird flutters to her shoulder, its presence quiet but reassuring. She opens the car door, and the dove hops in first, settling on the seat as though it has made itself at home. Emma gets in and closes the door, taking a long breath. As she drives down the mountain, the bird remains beside her, a silent companion in the snowy stillness. The story highlights the profound nature of love and loss, showing how deep human connections shape our lives. Emma's journey shows that grief isn't about forgetting. It's about learning to carry the memory of someone we've lost while moving forward. It took me a week to create this story, but no one liked it or subscribed to my channel, so it's still a sad story to follow.